Hi everybody, I am here today with a good friend of mine, Victoria, who is from America, but Victoria had a lot of Asian influence in her life growing up. So do you want to tell us about that?
Yes, hi everyone. Growing up, my dad was a pilot. So he would go for a week at a time over to China, Japan, Korea, Vietnam. And every time he came back, he would bring me and my sister some gifts. So growing up, we had our own kimonos, our own qu pao. He learned how to cook that food. So growing up, I also ate a lot of different foods from Asian countries. And we learned how to use chopsticks at a young age, except for my mother. She still, to this day, cannot use chopsticks. Another influence was my sister. She started doing Taekwondo when she was younger. She decided in college that she wanted to learn Japanese, so that was her minor. So she introduced me to anime, and she decided to study abroad in Japan. So that was really awesome seeing her experiences in Asia.
So then you had that influence from your father and then from your sister.
Yes.
And then you also made Asian friends and started to do martial arts.
My first job when I graduated college was accounting. That's my degree. And I found that I was actually really unhappy, so I wanted to find a way to get out all this pent-up anger in a constructive way. So I looked up different martial art places around where I lived. And I knew I couldn't do Taekwondo because I could not be the same as my sister.
Important stuff.
Yes, absolutely. So I found a Kung Fu school and I looked up online and I read their reviews and their code of ethics, and it really resonated with me. I made such great lifelong friends and built family in my Kung Fu school, and it was just amazing.
Oh.
Yeah. When you reach a certain belt level, it's expected that you help teach the younger students and the lower belt levels. And it was really, really great to learn like how to help others doing something that I just absolutely love. And that's where I found my passion for teaching.
Did you plan to move abroad?
I knew that I didn't want to stay in the United States because I was really feeling unhappy in like the political environment. I knew not Japan because that's where my sister went.
Individuality is key.
So my best friends are actually Taiwanese American and Chinese American. So I was already exposed to the food, the culture, and the language through my friends and through where I lived. I started looking into Taiwan, and the more I learned about Taiwan through different YouTubers, and that's where I found you, because I really appreciated your honest take on Taiwan. See how you live with your family. I followed Layers of Jen, and she was doing travel videos at the time. So I got to see different parts of Taiwan, and I was like, okay, I want to move to this country. Like, absolutely.
So Victoria is also married to a very handsome Taiwanese man.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us how that came about?
Like I said, my best friend, she's Taiwanese American. She joined this app for a language exchange to practice her Chinese. And on that app, she met my now husband, Arnold. Well, she met a lot of weird guys on the app. She's like, oh yeah, I'm married. And he said, okay, that's irrelevant. Can you please help me learn English? Thank you. So one day she asked him what he felt about blind dates. Oh, how do you feel about foreigners? And he's like, oh, they're fine. What he thought of was an Asian American. So when he saw a picture of me, he was quite shocked. He's like, oh. So over the next month, he and I messaged online, and all of our goals actually aligned, and it was very helpful because I was already going to move to Taiwan.
When was the first time you guys met in person?
After a year and a half dating online, he decided that he was going to come to America for the very first time for 2 weeks before I moved to Taiwan, and then we could fly back together. He is just so brave because immediately from the airport, I drove him to my Kung Fu Master's birthday party. I had my entire family, and I gave him the Texas tour. So where I'm from in Dallas, I took him to the really cool places there. Then we went and visited my parents. I took him down to Austin, met my sister, then in San Antonio. He met my grandmother, my aunt, and my uncle, and he met my childhood best friend.
Really, he didn't have to come over to America because in just a week or two, you were going to come to Taiwan.
Arnold is such a sweet and considerate person. I thought that it was really important that he meet my parents to put their minds at ease because, you know, my dad was very against me moving to Taiwan. He's very concerned about China.
When exactly did Arnold propose?
Proposed last April. The story is something straight out of a K-drama with how romantic it was. So the morning of the proposal, we were planning on going to Inga Old Street morning. I put on my nice pretty dress and I said, "Oh, Arnold, I look so cute today. It's too bad you won't propose." The plan was to go to Inga Old Street and do a citywide scavenger hunt. I was really excited. We almost canceled because it was like heavily raining. So we arrived and everyone's there already. Felt really bad. We divided into two groups, so we were like versing each other. Obviously, I could not be on the same team as Arnold because I wanted to destroy him. We each chose a little ball and it had our character that we were playing in the game. We were going around and solving riddles. Like one of them was finding a hot and cold dessert in Taiwan that's round. So I was fast walking trying to beat these guys because I was going to win no matter what. The whole time our friend Ryan, who studies videography, was recording the entire thing.
That's his thing?
That's his thing. So I was not suspicious at all. One of the games we met up with the other group and it was carrying a ping pong ball with chopsticks around this big circle, and it was so windy, and like I said, it was heavily raining, so it was really, really difficult. But we finished before them, and I was like, let's go, run. So we play other riddles, like we figure them out, and we end up at Starbucks, and we have to play one more game. Arnold and his group ended up showing up at the same time, and I was like, no! They also solved it, so the employees of the group said both teams unlocked this special level and we get to guess two people's identities. So they guess Arnold's and Ryan, the one who was recording everything. So they get kidnapped and every single person has to go to the bathroom. Oh my gosh, guys, let's hurry up. Why are you all lollygagging? We got people to save. We are given the final clue and I don't remember exactly what it says, but if you look the letters down, it spells hotels. I said, I know exactly where that hotel is. They looked at each other and said, oh, you do? I'm like, speed racer. Looking back, I'm like, hurry up. We gotta save them.
They're trying to stall you and you are not having it.
I am not being slowed down at all. Get to the hotel and they say, oh, you know, only the witch gets to go up the elevator into this room and save them. And I'm freaking out because I'm the witch. My Chinese is not good enough to rescue them. So I'm like panicking now. The guys, who wants to be the witch? You have the key, you go. And okay, so they tell me, oh, go up to this floor in this room number. I'm like, okay. So I'm hyping myself up in the elevator. I'm like, I can do this. How to say this in Chinese in my head, just repeating it over to myself. I use the key card to open the door. On the floor is a trail of rose petals. Big balloons. It says, will you marry me? With Arnold standing there looking handsome as ever in this amazing suit and he's holding my favorite flowers. In the center of the room, it's like a pit and it has like rocks in it and it's full of balloons and rose petals and a treasure chest. I'm freaking out. Oh my gosh, like shaking, trying to unlock it. And inside is the box. So he takes the box and gets down on one knee. He was so nervous. Obviously, I said yes. And the door swings open and everyone I was playing the game with earlier come walking in, including the employees of the game. Arnold had actually invented this whole entire game for the proposal. I had to get two friends that I had not met before, so I would not recognize them as the employees. They even had like vests on with the company's logo, so it looked so official. I had no idea. Mind was blown that this man loves me so much to do this much for me, like put in so much effort. It really just felt like a K-drama.
He went above and beyond.
Yes, so fellas, step up.
I got a text message. Has he continued to step up to the game?
Yes, every single day. And he even was accepting that we have 2 weddings, one in Taiwan and one in America, so both of our families could experience our happiness. That special treatment of me has just gotten better every single day, especially since our family has grown with the birth of our daughter. Just how he takes care of her every day, the way that he looks at her, I just fall in love all over again. I fell in love with this man because of who he is, and now I love him even more, which I didn't know was possible, because of the father he is for our daughter. The complete adoration and devotion he has to me and to Ophelia, just, I'm so lucky.
It's a big deal having a baby in Taiwan.
Yeah. So I would say the biggest factor was the financial burden. In America, men don't get paternal leave often, and maternity leave is about 6 weeks maximum. That was one of the biggest factors. Another one is the care that's provided for mothers and children in Taiwan. Is the healthcare system here actually cares about you? Culture as well. Taiwan is a much safer country than America.
What's the plan now?
We are surviving.
Okay. And as long as you keep surviving, we will have to make some more videos together and see how you're getting along and how parenthood is in Taiwan.
Yes, especially as a foreigner.
Yeah.
Because it is a different experience.
So thank you guys for watching. Remember to click like, because there's just no way of not liking Victoria's story. And you can share this video with your family, with your friends. Share it with your fellas, your sons, your brothers, and let them know what a good man looks like. And also check that you have subscribed to the channel and ring the bell so that YouTube will let you know when there are more videos out. Thanks guys. Bye. Thank you, Victoria.
Yeah.
Bye.